personal to me because I was friends with Danny Markel. He was a great guy. No one deserves this fate, but you have to think a guy like Danny Markel, who loved his kids more than anything, who was an amazing father, to see not only what happened to him during his life, but afterwards when he was murdered, his in-laws took the kids back to South Florida, just like they wanted, and then removed his last name from their names so that the remnants of Danny's legacy would be wiped out forever. And now justice is upon us. The day of reckoning for Donna is here. And justice has come slowly, but it is going to arrive. For Donna, this took 11 years, in part because you had a desperate search for years for the connection between these killers and the people who paid them. And then there was COVID, and then there was the strategy, which I think was the right one, of the state attorney's office to go one by one. I don't think you get to Donna without getting to Katherine Magbanua and then Charlie Adelson first. All the evidence they compiled against Donna, at least a lot of it, was because they went step by step going to the others involved in the case. And I think it's been a very successful strategy, and it's not done yet. If Donna is convicted, I think the next person in the prosecutor's sights will be Wendy. You have very strong circumstantial evidence. Actually, I think the best evidence for the jury will be consciousness of guilt. It'll be Donna's attempt to flee the country on a one-way ticket, one way to Vietnam, a country that has no extradition treaty with the United States, something that she talked about in a jail call with Charlie. So it was no accident. That's why she left. But the bump is going to be powerful evidence, because this was part of the desperation by law enforcement, who they were stuck. And they decided to engage in a bump, to move things along. So they sent an undercover officer to bump into Donna and to try to sort of extort her of money, pretending to extort her, and that's going to be part of her defense. She's going to say that I thought I was being extorted, that's why my money got into the killer's hands. Of course, that explanation falls flat if it falls apart immediately if you think about it a bit. But as far as the bump itself, it's going to be used because her reaction to this alleged extorter was kind of weird. If you had nothing to do with this crime, then you would take the piece of paper where he's demanding $5,000 for help, for money for one of the killers, and you would toss it in the trash, or you would call police. She did neither. She called her son. She said, this involves the two of us. Really? Okay. Her son, who's now in prison for life for this murder. And then she referenced the TV, which is the code for the murder. And then she called the undercover officer. And she tried to plead with him not to ask her for money or to believe she had anything to do with it. And at the very end of the call, she said, well, I'll call you back. Is that something you do if you're innocent? I think their defense is going to be that this is similar to the double extortion plot that Charlie used as his defense in his trial, which did not work well. The jury didn't buy it. And she's going to have a derivation of that, saying that she was being a good mother to her son, who came to her and said he needs $300,000 for this extortion, and she paid it. That's why her money got into the killer's hands. See, she's going to have to explain why her money, which was apparently laundered, literally laundered, wet and moldy, that it got into the killer's hands. How do you explain that? Well, she's saying she's being a loyal mother. I think her better defense would be to say she was an accessory after the fact, which is a lesser charge than to be a principal to first-degree murder. But she's not going there, apparently. She wants to get exonerated entirely. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because Charlie took the stand, believed that he could snow the jury, and he didn't. And she's going to take the stand, believing the same thing. She can put one over on the jury. It's not going to go well for her. But I think that's going to be her defense. She was a loyal, loving mom who just did what her son asked her to do in his time of need.